Today we are diving deep into our relationship with the stuff we buy, and we're going to do it by looking at two totally different films. So let's get right into it.
You know, this line from Fight Club just hits you, right? It's a question I bet a lot of us have quietly asked ourselves at some point. In a world that's just swimming in brands and logos, do the things we own actually end up defining who we are?
So we're going to start with a pretty simple but really powerful idea that somewhere along the line, the whole relationship flipped. It's not just about the things you own anymore. It's about the things that own you.
Yeah, there's been this huge shift from buying things for what they do to buying them for what they say about us. A product's actual function, that's kind of becomes secondary. What really matters now is its power as a symbol of our identity, our status, our whole value system.
And this just nails that point perfectly. The narrator in Fight Club, he doesn't just lose his furniture when his apartment blows up. He feels like he's lost himself. I mean, his entire identity was so wrapped up in his perfect IKEA lifestyle that when it's gone, he feels like he's nothing.
But here's the thing. This deep connection we have to products, it doesn't just happen by accident. Oh no. It is fueled by a massive, and I mean massive, advertising machine that creates what is basically an illusion of choice.
There's this key concept called artificially diversified products. Now, it sounds all academic and complex, but the idea is actually super simple. Big corporations make us feel like we're choosing between all these different, competing brands, when in reality, we're often just picking between different flavors from the very same company.
The soap industry is such a great example of this. First, advertisers create a need. They link something basic like hygiene to really complex ideas like beauty or social acceptance. Then they roll out a bunch of different solutions. You want to be beautiful? Oh, you need Dove. Worried about germs? Better grab Lifebuoy. Feeling glamourous? Well, Lux is for you. But here's the catch. The punchline, really. They're all made by Unilever. It's an absolute masterclass in creating desire while completely hiding who's pulling the strings.
And that brings us to the heart of this whole analysis, a head-to-head showdown between two very different movies that both take on consumer culture. So on one side, you've got Fight Club. Its argument? The only real solution is to just burn the whole system to the ground. And on the other side, you've got Confessions of a Shopaholic, which paints the consumer as this helpless victim. And in doing that, the paper argues it actually ends up propping up the very culture it's supposed to be criticizing.
Okay, so let's zoom in on the main characters of these movies, because they perfectly embody these two clashing viewpoints: the rebel who's ready to destroy the system, and the victim who's totally trapped by it.
And the contrast between them is it's stark. The narrator in Fight Club is this alienated office worker, a slave with a white collar. And his real problem is this deep spiritual emptiness. The movie frames him as a culprit, yeah, but one who has a choice to fight back. Then you have Rebecca Bloomwood. She's driven by low self-esteem and is shown as this totally innocent victim who's just being seduced by all this slick marketing.
Fight Club goes right after the way masculinity gets turned into a commodity. The narrator sees right through the ads. He recognizes that men are being sold this impossible physical standard. It's just another product that you're supposed to want. And then we have this. I mean, the contrast could not be more jarring. While one character is questioning the very idea of designer labels, the other is elevating a $200 piece of underwear to the level of a basic human right. It just perfectly captures how deep she is inside that consumer logic.
And here's a really crucial distinction the analysis makes. How Becky is framed. She isn't just a shopper. She's portrayed as completely helpless. The film literally has mannequins calling out to her, like the sirens from ancient myths, luring her to her financial doom. It paints this picture of the female consumer as a passive victim, totally unable to resist the system's temptations.
So, this massive difference in how the characters are set up, it leads to two completely, and I mean completely different endings. One film ends with a call for total anarchy, and the other, it ends with an auction. Oh yeah, the ending of Confessions of a Shopaholic is a total fairy tale. Becky, the damsel in distress, gets saved by her rich boyfriend. And how does she solve her mountain of debt? By auctioning off her designer clothes. The movie uses the tools of consumerism, a sale, to solve a problem that was created by consumerism. It's this perfect little circle that, in the end, just reinforces the whole system.
Okay, now let's pivot hard back to Fight Club. This quote, it's the exact opposite of the auction. It is a declaration of independence from the very things that defined Rebecca Bloomwood. It's a call to find your identity somewhere, anywhere, outside of your stuff and your social status.
And this rebellion, it doesn't just stay personal. It escalates.
What starts as a simple fight club for these guys to let off steam evolves into Project Mayhem, which is basically an organized anti-capitalist army. And their final goal isn't just to make a statement. It's to literally blow up the headquarters of the credit card companies and hit a giant reset button by erasing all debt.
So here it is, the final verdict, right next to each other. On one hand, you have anarchy, a complete system reboot. On the other, you have an auction, a solution that plays entirely by the system's rules. One film wants to smash the cycle, and the other just wants to give it another spin.
And that's the final powerful thought from the paper. As chaotic and, let's be real, unrealistic as it is, Fight Club's explosive ending is an attempt to do something that's actually really, really hard, to imagine a world that isn't defined by capitalism. It dares to ask, what if? What might actually be on the other side of this whole system we live in?
Which, of course, leaves us with one last question, turning the camera away from the movies and right back onto us. Looking at the world around you, at the things you own, which character do you see a little more of yourself in? Are you, like the narrator, a slave to your lifestyle? Maybe a willing participant who knows you could choose to break free? Or are you more like Becky, an innocent victim just trying to navigate a system that feels predatory? It's definitely a question worth thinking about. Thanks for tuning in.